Okay, Merry Christmas, everyone. We
And
are
Merry Christmas to all of you.
absolutely. We hope this season is filled with lots of time with family, friends, cherished loved ones. We're going to cover a few topics this month in the episode, but before we do, I always like to say, please, if you're enjoying the podcast, like, subscribe, share with a friend. Okay, so this episode is all about year-end wrap-up things, which makes sense for the time of year. So we're going to cover a few things. We're going to cover TFSAs, RSPs, what you should be doing now that we're coming up to year-end. We're going to be covering charitable giving. We're going to talk about tax loss harvesting, and as I promised last time, we're obviously going to cover the Santa Claus Rally. Okay, so let's jump right in. So I wanted to start with RSPs and TFSAs. Okay. So many of our clients, many of you are investing regularly through RRSPs and through TFSAs. Now, for this time of year is oftentimes bonus season, right? You've worked all year, your employer gives you a bonus and you're thinking of what to do with it. Of course, there's Christmas presents, but it's a good time to consider contributing to your RRSPs. This will help offset your taxes for next year. Now, you do have the first 60 days of 2024 to do that. So that's something to be aware of. So you do have the 60 days in 2024 as well. But when you get the bonus, I find it's easier to allocate the cash immediately rather than having the cash in your account and then having to try and not spend it all on Christmas presents and then save enough to invest. So encouraging you to invest as soon as you can. For your tax-free savings account, if you were 18 in 2009, as of 2023, you have $88,000 in contribution room. That increased by $6,500 at the beginning of this year. If you haven't made that contribution yet, encouraging you to do that before year end. It's not a real hard deadline, though, because you can contribute next year for this year. As of 2024, though, you'll have an additional $7,000 in contribution room. So the total room will be 95,000 available next year. So you're going to want to see if you can take advantage of that as well. So a couple things coming up there and something for you to think about. Also, if you did withdraw funds from your TFSA during the year, you don't lose contribution room in your TFSA permanently, but that room is gone until the beginning of 2024, and then that room comes back again. So if you did take some money out of your TFSA and you want to put it back in without hurting your contribution limits or going over the limit, you're going to want to wait till next year to do that. So be prepared. That's going to happen at the beginning of next year as well. Now, wanted to move on to charitable giving. Now, this is a hard line for the end of 2023. Donations have to be in before the end of the year, and charities do like to see those donations come in before the last day of the year, especially because the 31st is on a Sunday. So really, it's probably looking like the last day you can donate is going to be the 27th or so. So be sure, your favorite charities, if you want to get that tax receipt for 2023, you get that in. Now, in light of all the things I've just said, I do want to encourage you as listeners and as investors with Tower to look at contributing to your RSPs, to your TFSAs, to your investments, and to your favorite charities on a more regular basis, right? Then it's not a bit of a rush, a bit of a lump sum one time of year, especially at the time of year when there's a lot of other expenses coming. So investing along the way can be much more beneficial that way. Additionally, for your favorite charities, if you think about it, charities operate with they have expenses and they have bills that come up regularly. And so if you really like this charity and you really like what they're going to do, if you're able, if you can contribute regularly, it helps them manage their cash flow better instead of just waiting and hoping for a lump sum later on in the year. So for charities you particularly enjoy, if you can, I do encourage regular contributions just because it helps that charity manage their expected cash flow a little bit better instead of waiting for the whole year to get that lump sum. And those are those three things. I'm going to give it to you, Mark, to talk about tax loss harvesting. Go
Okay,
ahead.
tax loss selling, tax loss harvesting. This means that you sell securities that are in a loss position to help offset securities that have been in a gain position. Now, there's
Mhm.
some things that are really important. Number one, your gains have to be in a taxable account, not in an RSP. Number
That's right.
two, the tax loss harvesting that you want to do, the selling losses, has to be also done in a non-RSP, a non-registered account. So that's number one. This is the only activity you can do in non-registered accounts. Number two, Typically, what you want to do is identify, oh, we've got this one large investment that we've taken a profit on, and therefore we want to try and offset the amount of gain by cleaning up all of our losses. Let me say, selling positions that are in a loss is always a good idea.
Yes.
Sell them and move on. So these need to be in registered accounts. It's to offset large gains, and it's to take losses to offset those. Okay, that's it. But I want to talk about Tower's strategies
That's right.
in the context. We have a natural rebalancing of especially the momentum account, which does have some large gains and some significant losses in there. But an account, a security that has had a loss in a quarter is gone. We sell it at the end of that quarter. So you won't have large losses to figure out at the end of the year. It's a natural curing type cycle throughout the year. I think that was the word that Tarek, the momentum account has a natural culling process. On the value strategy, the enhanced index strategy, to take the loss in a position that's in there, and there are two that are, nah, they're reasonably significant, not huge, but like 5%, I think, is the amount I noticed. Maybe it's a little more, but you have to, and they're in the bond positions. Okay, that's because interest rates have risen and the value of bonds have fallen. When you have those, you've got you have to be out of the account. You have to be out of that security for 30 days for it to be tax effective. If you sell it to crystallize the loss and then you want to buy it back because it's part of the portfolio, it's part of the long-term strategy, you're kind of hooped.
Yeah, it's a
If you buy it
superficial
back
loss
in,
by the CRA's
yeah,
rules. Yeah.
yeah, you just played with the security, you haven't actually sold it. And you buy it back, it might be higher, might be lower, and that's just a risk you take. So you're out of the market for 30 days if you want to do that. I think that's it, Tarek. Back to you on the Santa Claus Rally.
The Santa Claus Rally. Okay, as we promised, the Santa Claus Rally. What is it? So it describes a tendency for the stock market to go up, 1 to 2%, maybe even 5% during a period spanning just the last 5 trading days of the year and the first 2 trading days of the new year. So this is 7 business days. So it can be a longer period, of course, because there's a lot of holidays in there. This year it's December 21st, 22nd, and then 27th to 29th, and January 2nd and 3rd. Now this rally, this sort of tendency was discovered way back in 1972 by a fella looking at the Investor's Almanac, whatever that means. But what's interesting is that between 1950 and 2019, 76% of the time, there was a positive Santa Claus rally in those 7 days of the year. So it's real. The Santa Claus
Wait.
rally happens
75% of the time?
75%, well, 76% of the time. Yeah. 75% of the time.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's real.
It's more than random, that's for sure, right?
Yeah.
So there's something there, and the real question is, why why does it happen? Like, why is the market performing between New Year's or between Christmas and New Year's? And there's a couple theories. There's a couple guesses at it. Some people say, a lot of, as I mentioned earlier, people are receiving their bonuses and they're investing that money into the market, and so that's just providing a little bit of a bump, and that could be part of it. Post-Christmas spending or Christmas spending, just consumer spending during that season altogether, that could be part of it. Some people say it's institutional investors just trying to, they call it window dressing, making the portfolios look really good for year end, because that's when they want to, some people are going to be looking to see what's going on in their portfolios. And so that might be part of it. But, I think you can't discount just the happy, bullish optimism of investors who are spending time with their family and friends, and they're just optimistic looking forward. And so the market just reflects that optimism of the holiday season. It's just a little bit of Christmas magic. Who knows?
So Merry Christmas to all of you.
Absolutely. Merry Christmas. We thank you for tuning in. Please, if you can, this Christmas, spend some time with friends and family. Enjoy yourselves.